Hello, I'm the Miami Autism Dad Victor Antunez, the Inclusive Miami Realtor, and this is the Autism Podcast at Miami's community newspapers. Today I'm with Farides Garcia. She is President and CEO of Parent to Parent of Miami. Fari, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Victor.
Yeah, so great to have you. Again, we've done this before.
Yes.
A different show. So Fari, for people that don't know, what is Parent to Parent?
Parent to Parent of Miami, we're a parent center that we work with families who have kids with disabilities in Miami-Dade County. So we're working with all disabilities and all age groups to ensure that families get the information they need, the support that they need, peer support, so a lot of emotional support, special education advocacy, and a lot of workshops. You know, we want our parents to really understand their kids' disabilities, empower them with knowledge so that they can become good advocates for their children, because we know we can see great things.
That's right.
If we give kids the supports that they need.
So people know I'm an autism dad.
Yeah.
You're also an autism mom.
Yeah.
So we both got skin in the game.
Yeah, we do. We do. And most of the staff at the office, we are parents of children with disabilities. So I think that gives us that unique perspective, Victor, that when we are helping a parent, we understand their fears, the hardships that come along and the joys, because we are parents. So we're talking with them at a very personal level, and really engaging them to get them to a better place.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so people are aware, because we're both autism parents, but you work with all disabilities.
Yes, all disabilities. So we have a big number of our parents that reach out. 30+% are parents who have a child or children on the autism spectrum. So a good chunk of the parents are, like I said, about 33% do have a child on the spectrum, but we work with all disabilities. So we can be helping someone who might have a child who's struggling with ADHD, right? Learning disabilities at school, or CP, Down syndrome, any disability, we will help our parents, get them to the services that, to help their kids.
And something that I've learned, on this journey is that you can have kids with one disability or multiple. Like you'll have a kid who's got Down syndrome and also got autism.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And then CP, autism. So it's not just like one or the other. There's a lot of
comorbidity within the whole disability piece. And sometimes you do acquire a few extra, disability labels along the way as our kids grow and maybe, new issues come up. But yeah, there are a lot of parents that do have their child may have multiple disabilities that they need to help with. Yeah, certainly.
Now, Parent to Parent, you guys were founded in 2003?
No, 1988.
Where did I get 2003?
Yeah, 1988. We just celebrated our 38 years here in Miami-Dade County.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It was started by a group of parents who wanted to help other parents. And I think that it was at the core from when we started, and it's still at the core of what we do. So it was all parent-led, parents just wanting to help each other out, needing to find those resources in our community. And, Miami-Dade County is huge. So, but it's been a privilege that our organization has helped families throughout the years. So yeah, going strong for 38.
Yeah. What's interesting is I see Parent to Parent all over the place, online, whatever. And it has this aura of almost being a government organization because you're so big. But it was started but in a good way.
Yeah.
But it was started by parents.
Yeah. Well, thank you for those kind words. I mean, we're not that big, and we're only 18 on staff.
Well, you're everywhere.
Well, we try. We are really trying. Like I said, the county is so huge, Victor, that if
3 million people almost. Yeah.
We are trying to be everywhere, and it is sometimes a little bit difficult. I mean, last Saturday, we were at 3 resource events. I mean, we were stretched. And come Saturday, we have the TCT Expo, which is huge, plus another expo. And we're just, if people reach out to us, we really are trying to get our name out there and support, because these commissioners, these different agencies are really trying to bring disability awareness. And that's a great thing, because disability touches everybody. And, so you try, but we are stretched. It's a lot to do, but we do it because we know that it's important. There's still so many pockets and so many parents that may not know that we can help them, that it's free of charge, that we're there to help them in whichever capacity they need for their kids. So it's a lot of work, but, my team is amazing. You have people that are dedicated. It's mostly moms that have, gone through their own personal journey, and now they want to give back. And so they're still dealing with their journey. They're still dealing with their children and their needs, but they're helping other parents overcome, Our tagline of hope, help, support, it's always there. And so we're really trying to be out there so that others know how to reach us.
It's interesting you say it's mostly moms, because I was at another group and meeting all the staff, and I was the only man.
Yeah.
I was like, gotta get some more men around.
Yeah, you guys are the minority. Yes,
We
you
sure
are. No, I know it. It really is. I mean, for whatever. You have a lot of dads and a lot of.
Well, you guys are the caregivers, and we're the breadwinners, so it's just
sure. And you do see that. You do see that a lot of the staff that work are only working part-time. So when you see all this activity, they're giving 25 hours a week. They're not working. My full-time staff is small compared to my part-time because they have their kids' needs to take care of, right?
Course,
they have to run out of, the office to get to school, to pick up their kids, to take them to therapy. They're still doing that mom thing, and dealing with their home lives. So yeah, it's a lot of times the moms that are able to fill in a work that have that part-time capacity, and hopefully if they have someone at home that can share, and because a lot of times they're single moms because of circumstances that the marriages have not been able to endure because of the hardships that sometimes comes with the whole disability component, if we're going to be honest.
My wife and I were still together, thank God.
Yeah.
But there has been some rocky times.
Sure.
And most of the rocky times have been because of the kids.
Sure.
Not their fault, but us arguing how to care and bring up the kids.
Yeah. We're tested. I say I'm blessed that, my husband has, we celebrate 33 years of marriage. It's not easy.
Congratulations.
It's not easy on normal circumstances when you add stressors, because that's what it is. It's extra stressors, and you need to be on the same page. And you hope that people can evolve to go for the good of the child, of the needs of that, daughter or son. Yeah.
Now, you mentioned earlier there's some pockets that you're not reaching. What pockets?
Well, we're so big. So you have a lot of, you still have Homestead and down south. You have areas. So it's just, you'd be surprised. Sometimes people say, oh, I've been, I'm a parent and my child is X years old already, in their teens plus, and hadn't reached out or hadn't heard of Parent to Parent of Miami. It just, that's just how it is. You go to therapy places, staff is always changing, school staff are always changing. It just happens that it's still, a big community like ours. Sometimes there is that isolation with the disability community.
Yeah.
So, it's just, we're very vast. We try to do our best to get to so many different places, but we are also, again, limited with our resources of personnel. So we've had, for the last 4 years, we've had this great enrichment project that we work with the African-American, Haitian, Creole-speaking families in the North area. And, Danielle and Celeste at our office do this great work with, having a support group just for this group of parents, giving them that extra support that they need. But, the need is great.
Well, there's 3 million people.
Yeah.
About 1 in 4 people nationally, so probably Miami as well.
Yeah.
Live with disability.
Sure.
So if it's 3 million people, a quarter of that's 750,000 people. It's like, that's a lot.
And think of that. We work with about 1,400 families a year. It's a drop in the bucket.
But it's a big number.
It's huge though.
But it's a drop in the bucket compared to the need.
The need. That's why you do need to have other agencies and other people out there that are doing the work. So yeah, it's a big number, because for one group to help, and that's just personal one-on-one help. It's not just a phone call, Victor. We're working with families for months.
You call them caseworkers? What do you call
we call them education support specialists.
Which is okay. You're educating people. That's not like a one and done.
No,
that's a process.
It is, and a lot of times they're calling you because they need help with the process. So when someone is maybe thinking that their child has some disability or is not making the grade at school, and they're asked, you should contact Parent to Parent of Miami. We start a process, so we let them know and we show them when we guide them how to ask for that evaluation finally at school. Right, doing it the right way, getting the school system involved to evaluate to find, is there an issue? Getting that initial IEP, right? That document that's so important for services for our kids. It's a process, and we're there helping them along the way. We're getting them to our workshops, because how are you going to know what to expect or what your rights are unless you're sitting there in a training and know, what does this federal law mean? What is this document supposed to do? How am I a part of it, right? So it's not just sitting there and going, okay, and signing off. It's realizing how much of a parent voice, parents do have, and that their input is important. They need to feel empowered. So it is a lot. It's not a one time. And even parents have been with us for a long time, because that's our hope that parents call us and they can stay with us for years, as long as they need us.
Is there a cutoff, like a cliff, lifetime?
Lifetime, it's usually up to about age 26 is where we're federally, granted through. And that's where through IDA kind of supports go through, to our later part when they do that whole post-secondary and all that. But the truth is that we won't say no. So we'll try to at least get them to another place if they need to. But it is getting people to, our years go by really fast for children. My son is 27. I remember when I started him and he was really tiny, and you say, wow, how long it's been, and time goes by fast. So I want our parents to be empowered with the knowledge, with knowing that they can do, that their children, giving them new dreams for their kids, making sure that they know who to reach out to, that they know what are the services that are out there. Because we have a big community that has a lot of services.
There's a lot available in Miami-Dade County. There
and they
certainly
keep growing. There are limitations, but there's a lot out there too. So trying to get them to that better place so that they don't feel isolated, so that they feel that they can do something for the kids, that they can impact their life in a positive way, and we do see good things happen from that. Yeah.
When my daughter had her regression, like two and a half, and we finally found out, okay, she's autistic. First I was like, there's the just the grief in the morning period.
Yeah.
Then once you kind of wake up, I'm like, okay, what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
And so I started Googling, but Google was not a help because it's too much.
Yeah, it's too much there.
It's overwhelmed. So then I thought, you know what? Let me call my sister-in-law, because she's a social worker at the school system.
Right.
Maybe she'll know what to do.
Right.
And I called her. She's like, do this. Like, she gave me the roadmap.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I wrote it all down. I called her back a few times to make sure that if I forgot stuff.
Yep.
And she gave me the roadmap of what to do.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for her, I don't know what I would have done.
Yeah.
It's like, you guys are that roadmap, but you're not calling people. People got to call you.
Yeah. Yeah. There's only so much. I mean, people have to do that initial step.
Yes.
And it is hard to call a place because, you think about, there's a lot of fear. Yeah, there's, doubt of, are they going to really help me? Or maybe they've been disillusioned by other places that they've reached out to and nothing has happened. And we have had that. We have people that say, you're the first one to call me back. I've left several messages or, so we do, as soon as somebody calls us or fills out like an intake form online, we're calling them, if not that day, the next day.
That's
and
so
they
big.
Are working with
That's
someone
so big.
At the most by a 2-day wait. Only do we have to wait for a few days for to speak to someone is because we're swamped and it's like those school days where you have a lot of IEPs and a lot of issues going on, that peak season. But otherwise, you're talking to someone within a day or two because, I feel that if you have had the courage to reach out for help, you should get someone to call you and to speak to someone right away. You don't want to just wait.
And we've all had that experience where you call some business, let's say, and crickets.
And nothing happens, right?
You don't want to call them back because you feel like you just feel.
Well, you ignored me already.
Yeah, why am I going to call you?
Yeah, and so and we try. We're not perfect, but we do our best. And if something does slip through, I always say, do give us a call or give us a second chance because we know we do get busy at times. Like I said, 1,400 families in a year is a lot to deal with, but we want to make sure that we do create that roadmap. But I think the message that we also try to tell parents is that they have to be the ones to push forward. We can give you the roadmap,
but you still got to make the call. Yes,
but it's up to you as a parent to have the ability to call, to try, to do. It's not that we're not going to step in if things aren't going well. A lot of times there, communication breaks down between the parent and the school.
Well, let me ask you a question. Okay. Yeah. You're dealing with, let's say, a single parent, usually a mom. She's already overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Because she's just like her, because you're like, let's call her Elizabeth. Elizabeth, do this, this, and this. She already has a laundry list of things to do. Now
Yeah.
you're adding to that list. Like,
Yeah.
how do you guide that mom? How do you
But you don't
coax
add to
her?
the laundry list.
No?
You don't add another laundry list.
What do you do?
You break it down in steps
Hmm.
because it's like everything else. It's so much more manageable when you say, okay, listen, I know it's big, but what is the main topic right now? What is that main concern? And you have to chip away, Victor. If not, it's not possible. Nothing would happen. So it's a matter of, okay, what is the main concern now? Okay, let's do this. Once you get this, let's say, letter in and ask for that evaluation and this happens. Okay, you wait for this. All right, now next step, this is what's going to happen. In between, gather paperwork maybe if you have, so you kind of guide them, not by adding like 10 other things to do, but by saying, okay, there are going to be steps, but let's do them one step at a time. Our children have many vast needs, right? But you can't just do it all at once. So you have to stop with that, that hierarchy of this is the immediate need. Once we get this better, let's move on to to the next step and then to the next step, which is why, parents really do work with us for months. And hopefully
years,
they can
probably,
work with
because
us
months.
for years. Oh, years.
Yeah.
Those good cases, their child, they be calling when their child is 3 or 4. And, they're now graduating high school because along the way, there's so many different transitions, right? If you start in early intervention, then you move into the pre-K, then you move into elementary, middle, high school, and then after high school, what is the next step? So there's also many different, and there's so many needs along the way. So things change, our children's needs change, and in between, our families are evolving, right? Our children are changing in whatever capacity. You get to see, the fruits of your labor of all these therapies, and our kids get it and they start, doing much better in school and they're socializing and maybe they're making friends and, maybe they're now, enjoying that after school program or their summer camps, or maybe they got into theater, or maybe they got into sports or whatever their joy is, and you want to help parents during those transitions because expectations at school changes, right? And the needs there change, expectations as they grow up, and how to be part of our community, be part of the society that's around them. And so and parents have to realize that there are different things. Your worries when they're 3, 5, 6 evolve when they approach, let's say, 18, and they're going to become adults, and now you need all this legal work and finances, and what's the future going to be, and what are services that they're going to need. So yeah, I mean, that is what we hope to do with families. So it's ever evolving, and they can come back as often. We never close a case.
Well, let's talk about the beginning to end. Like a young parent, they found out, or they're suspecting their kid is autistic.
Sure.
And like I was talking to this one young mom. She's like, "Oh, the doctor told me to wait." And I'm like, "Wait for what?"
Yeah.
So like a parent like that comes to you. What is the process?
So it depends on their age. So if
they're 3.
Yeah. If they're before 3, and you hope so, they can get into early intervention, right? So we are doing a direct referral to the early intervention program to get them.
Program or programs?
Program. There's an early intervention program, and there's a north and a south program.
Okay.
And that's your early intervention, right? So any child under the age of 3 who might have some type of developmental delay, if they are found eligible, they can receive, therapies and supports at that young age. Then once they turn 3, they have to transition into, if they still have needs, they can transition into the like the pre-K ESC program, the special education program in Dade schools. And again, they can go to school at 3, 4 years old, right, up to 5 and so forth, and be in that program where they're getting that more intense support. And it's all free of charge. These are services that are through federal law. I
was talking to somebody about VPK, and the complaint for this one mom was that it's only 3 hours and she's a working mom, so it doesn't really help her.
Right.
The earlier intervention, because some parents, they just need daycare.
Yeah, they need, right. But then that's where you try to see where are those programs that maybe they can then continue on. So a lot of the private programs also can get support so VPK is different. because right, VPK is for that pre-K at 4 type of thing. Yeah. Now, you can also be supported if you have a disability, and you have programs that can get, support through, let's say, the Early Learning Coalition and so forth. You can have therapists that can come into the program and support their child while they're at that other longer day program, because it is a lot of so remember, this is just a piece, right? Just like early intervention. I mean, they're just, hours. Sometimes you might have someone who will come out to the home if the child is at home, and they have a specialist that will come out and will, kind of help the parent, help their child through play and so forth. So it takes a little bit of networking with the different situations that the parents are in, what they might be eligible in, is insurance going to cover extra? Would Medicaid be able to stop in? So it's a lot of, trying to, put heads together to get them to a better, to solve that issue, because we all have to work. Miami's expensive. It really is. So you're trying to work, you're trying to get, the child still supported in their services. And that's what you try to do. I think that sometimes when they're in private programs, if you have good quality programs, they also know who to reach out to be able to bring that additional support that child needs, because you can do combinations. So you just work with the parent individually. Everybody's different and cases are very different. So that's what we try to do. It's not just a cookie stamp and move on.
No. Yeah. And that network is so important because, okay, it's not easy. Yeah. It's expensive, but a lot of stuff is free.
Sure.
And a lot of the solutions that you think there's not a solution for, they're out there, but you just got to knock on enough doors.
You do.
And people that I found so far in Dade County are so helping.
Yeah.
Will go out of their way to help you.
Yes. Yes.
And so there's no shortage of anything, I think, in Dade County, or do you think there is?
No, there really isn't. I mean, I think that it's a matter of getting connected and having agencies work together. And most of the time, agencies, if they're in for the good of that child, of that family, will collaborate with other families, because we can't do it alone. We need to have, that collaboration from the partner agencies out there. I think the biggest impact that the county has had for many years now is, if I have to say, the Children's Trust. I mean, I think
that's Florida.
No, that's Miami-Dade County.
Children's Trust.
The Children's Trust is very much specific to Miami-Dade County. It's a Children's Services Council. There are other Children's Services Council in Broward and other places in Florida, but TCT, the Children's Trust, is very specific here to Miami-Dade County.
And their name is also everywhere.
They're everywhere because they are big.
Yes.
And and thanks to them, then you have seen those quality after school programs come into play, those quality summer camps that are free of charge. They're very low fees. You have nursing care now at school that help, for kids that need the medical attention during the school day. You have these amazing art, music, drama, you name it, Children's Trust is funding them. And we have a vast support from the Children's Trust. And that's how we have been able to expand really our services since 2006, luckily, with them. So it is, so the Trust has put in a lot of great programming in place and a lot of assistance that parents can, I mean, the first time that David went to a summer camp at Easter Seals, and it was funded through the Children's Trust, and they said, oh, it's a $50 registration fee, and then that's it. And I'm like, oh, wow. Because you're used to spending so much money.
Hundreds and thousands of dollars a week on some of these camps.
And our parents can't do that. So a lot of what we do is promote a lot of those agencies that are in programming that are funded through the Children's Trust, because we know that they're high quality, and we know that it's going to be at free, if not extremely reduced cost.
Let me see about that particular camp.
Yeah.
Was there an income cap for you as a parent?
Not at all. It's just for anyone that was there. It was part of their summer camp program. It's part of their funding. And I think that, so every agency does it differently, but it was a matter of, they were part of the camp, and David had an amazing time. And luckily he stayed there for, it was through the culinary arts, and he stayed and graduated from Easter Seals. But like that, there's so many, Dade County has good parks, right? They have
great
the
parks.
Disabilities.
Yes.
So you have to go through that, you have a lot of different programs. There's summers that Saturday programmings that are inclusive programming through the, the arts through the county and so forth. So it's a matter of being, aware. I think that that's where I hope social media can play a good part, where parents can tag in, follow, so many different agencies and county programs, because you do. And I think that for me, what's important is to push the disability inclusion. I think that's where we really want to, we are very pleased with the fact that, the trust from the beginning really became very inclusive of children with disability. And there's a mandate that every agency has to have at least 10% of kids with disabilities, because the hardest thing as a parent is to reach out to someone and be turned away because, oh no, we don't take those kids. Well, it's not those kids, it's our kids. And our children should be part of our major community. Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm getting the 5-minute warning.
Okay.
So we'll start wrapping it up. I want to ask you about the Journey of Dreams coming up in November.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
So Journey of Dreams is our big annual fundraiser.
Okay.
It's a one time of year that we, get together to, have dinner, dancing. We honor, people that are doing great work in our disability community. It is our major fundraiser. So yes, at the moment we are really seeking, sponsors that are willing to help us. Those sponsorships will cover what's not covered through our grants. So we have a good 10 to 15% of funding that we need covered through community support. So yeah, November 7th.
It's on your website?
It's on our website, and it's a real easy. It's a bit.ly/Journey of Dreams 2026, and all the information is there. So yeah, we're looking for sponsors.
Thankfully, Dade County has got people that have just so much money that it's unimaginable.
Yeah.
Let's say I've got really deep pockets, and I'm looking for a place. I want to do good, but I don't want to waste my money.
Right.
Why would like? And I'm not trying to have you pitch me, but what would make parent to parent like the place where I would invest my dollars?
Well, it's simple. The money really does go directly to the families that we help. So the money that we fundraise, that we bring in as grants, our administrative rate, I think, is 7%. It's really,
That's not much.
really low. No, it's very low.
That's very low.
Very low, because you do have an
Of course, you have office building. You have people have to pay money.
But you have to, and all our staff is paid. You cannot rely on volunteers to do this work. You can't.
You get what you pay for.
And we are, employing, that community, which is not easily employable, because trust me, my staff has needs that is very difficult for any employer to match. So it will go to direct funding to help either a youth, either that family get to a better place. And we have a lot of need in our community.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the changes now in the Department of Education.
Yeah.
That department's being switched to
Health and Human Services. Well, there's an interagency agreement that's been signed.
And this is at the federal level.
This is all at the federal level. It's not supposed to change special education law. There's supposed to not be any changes in that. There are concerns of, moving a whole department into a whole different department that may not have the personnel, that may not have the staff
depth
with the experience that are there. Because remember that, you need federal oversight to help the states continue to, put in federal law and follow federal law. And that gets trickled down to every local agency. So for us, our local education agency is Miami-Dade County Public Schools. So you need to have that oversight. So there are questions, let's just say, about the move and how, we don't want there to be disruptions to the way that our children with disabilities are supported in their school, because we know that the need is great.
If parents are concerned about this and they want to learn more about it, is there a link on your website to this? Like, how would they find out?
There really is, and it's been a big push. So they can actually, if they Google it, they can look up a lot of information that is out there, Victor.
And you sent me a petition to sign, and I signed it. If a parent wants to sign a petition to not be against it,
right?
Where would they find that?
It's already closed. So it was an effort that was done by a lot of different advocacy groups nationwide to be able to get, at least for people in, Congress and, those with, powers to say, there is concern. And that was concern from parents, from advocacy groups, from so many different disability nationwide.
And is it a done deal, or is it still up in the air?
There's a lot going on. We really don't know. I know that they want to be faithful to federal law and make sure that there are no repercussions and that, disability is not interrupted. The the services are not interrupted. But sometimes as you start up one thing and finish, or you have people that are come and go, you lose that. You would need to have, a new startup. And so why? We want to ensure that IDEA, which is federal law, continues faithfully to help our kids. And we want to see them through an education model, not through a health lens.
Why?
Because your education is very different to your needs as a disability. You want, for a long time, children with disabilities were not part of a school system. We're not part of classrooms.
You're right.
And so you want to have, and you want to have people fight for that education, for their appropriate education, for those, services that they need. You want to ensure that they're looking at them through the potential of education and learning, not filling a seat, not being in the back of a classroom, but being, active and participant. Participating.
Yep.
And we know that even those that have very impactful disabilities can, go to do much great things.
Yeah.
And we want to push for that.
If we give them the tools.
Yep.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, Fari, this has been a great conversation.
Thank you.
I'll put the link to the Journey of Dreams in the show notes.
Thank you.
And hopefully parents will look up this move here with the Department of Education.
Yeah.
See what's going on with that.
Yeah, it's part of the advocacy efforts. People need to know.
Yeah, and they got to be involved and they got to participate.
You have to. It's part of your advocacy for your children. Right. Yes.
Well, Fari, let's turn to the camera and we'll sign off.
Okay. All
so
right.
This has been the Autism Podcast with Farides Garcia, CEO and President of the Parent to Parent of Miami. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again next time.